Pro's turn to bat.
There we go then, first draft of the day, first draft between LGD and Virtus.pro, and we will find out where their picks and bans are going. Lena, just by the way, at the moment, top pick
10 seconds remaining.
of TI5.
And I don't think we've seen
Most played, I should say.
first ban silencer
5 seconds
yet.
remaining.
I mean, it's been banned before against Virtus.pro, obviously, but first time? First phase?
I mean, in the first phase, wasn't it yesterday? Do you remember, Seb?
It was.
There's so many games.
There was a first phase pick silencer.
But not first phase ban.
I don't remember the first phase ban. I remember the first phase pick from Virtus.pro, but I don't think anyone. The first phase ban was like very early in the tournament. It wasn't yesterday. It was the first team they faced, and I think it was Fnatic. That first phase ban. Actually, it was Fnatic. They first phase ban silencer against VP, and that's why the day after we were like, since VP are getting it, they might first pick it. I mean, first phase it, which they did.
They did indeed. I'm actually curious. Yao on the offlane on Bounty Hunter has actually got a record of 19 and 2 in terms of win rate, 90%. Is there any chance we're going to see anything but a support Bounty Hunter in this series?
I feel it's less likely because, you know, the Chinese teams, they've been focusing more on team fight compositions, and their position 3 is the key team fight. Be it the Darkseer, be it the Earthshaker, and Bounty is just not going to be suitable for that position. So I feel like it's just more or less going to be a support if it's going to be picked up.
Fair enough.
The Naga ban is very important. I feel for LGD, it's very nice ban. It's been definitely the key hero for VP so far in the tournament. They've used Naga like very, very well. We saw Naga Phoenix combos. We saw just to disengage, like a lot of different usage for Naga from FNG.
I mean, this kind of the expected opening from LGD going for their standard gyrocopter here. So as usual, they're not going to go for the queen, and LGD, I don't expect them to go for the hero at all.
10 seconds remaining.
So there's still Shadow Fiend on the Radiant side for G.
Still Lena too.
Indeed, it's one of the first times that actually they could get their SF Radiant. It's something they love to play, and they're gonna go for the Lina. It might not be a Lina mid, like really VP is one of those teams. I mean, a lot of teams are the same right now, but you really can't predict what kind of Lina it's gonna be.
Yeah, they play
you see FNG, he's 2-0 with Lina. God plays Lina a lot.
Illidan plays Lina as well.
Yep, yeah, exactly.
I think they even ran it offlane on Phobos on occasion.
Okay.
Yeah. So they definitely play the hero everywhere.
And the 3-3 stats from God on co-op, painful stats when you realize his KD on co-op even when he loses is extremely high.
If you were LGD, would you prefer to have the gyro or the Lina? I actually feel like the Lina is more important than the gyro.
For LGD?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say though, because they are focusing on team fight, and Lina is single target, gyro is team fight.
This is the same opening Virtus.pro had yesterday versus Secret in Game 2 and Game 3, which they won. They opened with Lina Shaker. It was the exact same, so LGD is definitely going to be ready for that. And their second phase, the follow-up picks were Storm Spirit, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they had a Storm Spirit
and Visage, yeah, twice. So we're gonna see what LGD, that's the Visage ban, that's the first one. So the Visage ban is, I feel, important in the sense that it also denies the draw pick a lot. And what people have to know about Lil, his first appear, like he appeared first in the competitive scene. He was picked up by Go Black in NVMI team back in the days, and he was a pop star, you know, that would play Visage solo mid every game almost, and he had insane win rate. He's like, in the Western scene, he's considered as one of the best Visage players by far.
And he's one of the few Visage players that actually, after the nerf to Drow Visage, continued playing Visage even without the Drow and just still managed to dominate with him as well.
Yeah.
Smart to remove that one. Really happy that DK Phobos gets his Earthshaker again, if it's going to DK Phobos, because also that hero they have played on different heroes before, but I think it's safe to say that it should be his hero this game.
So let's see if LGD decides to ban the Storm.
Reserve time.
Do you think Sylar at all yesterday, he saw Vici playing Morphling, he's like, man, I really want to play that hero. When I think of Morphling, I actually think of Sylar way more than How.
That's true, he's been very known for his Morphling. He didn't get to play it yet, did he? No.
There's only been one Morphling. Anyways, heroes I'm looking at for Lil, probably Rubik I think is pretty standard for them. I think actually Crystal Maiden might be picked up by either side. Very good support if you want to keep up the pressure with
10
Lina and
seconds
Shaker.
remaining.
And a great dual mid together with Morphling if they want to go that route as well.
I think
Bit of
Rubik
five
will definitely be picked up here, either by the next pick or the pick after.
It's also a very good hero to have versus Clockwork on the lane. Because you just, you know, take him out of the cogs.
They are taking out the AA. Are they going to go for some healing hero?
Which Doctor is still in the pool?
Wisp,
Io?
maybe?
Yeah.
I think Wisp seems more likely if you're banning the AA.
So VP, the way they play Wisp, they're not your classic Wisp team in the sense that they don't run the classic Wisp tiny. I mean, they do a bit, but like they're most known, for example, for combos like Wisp Medusa.
CK?
10
With
seconds.
CK a bit, but they were doing earlier in the year Wisp Medusa, and it's one of their focus
5
strat,
seconds
where they
remaining.
just rush a Rapier on the Medusa. It's like a Lincoln's Rapier Medusa, with the Wisp behind to back her up.
LGD's
And they're also a team that also plays Tree and Protector, by the way, which we haven't really seen apart from in the hands of EG, I think, this tournament.
That, indeed. It hasn't been picked at all. It's been ignored completely. The main reason is that like a lot of heroes that are picked right now, such as Gyro or Darkseer, they like the living armor is not a factor at all versus those heroes. It just gets removed instantly.
Oh, and almost forgot Winter Wyvern is still in the pool as well.
Yeah, I think right now LGD might actually want to go for the Wisp as well. If you look at their support positions, it's kind of...
5 seconds.
I feel like
remaining.
that's like one of the better choices they have, and they have the Clockwork to start for Relocate. So you can actually just find pickoffs anywhere.
Interesting.
Pros.
SF Dire.
They went for all their calls right away.
Yeah.
It might be an SF picked into a Lina as well, so it's a bit scary versus Lina Shaker to run on SF. So they definitely have a plan behind that.
Do you think they're just actually trying to deny, because they actually feel VP might actually go for Shadowfiend on Radiant, so they felt like it's actually going to be very good in this situation, so they just want to...
I think they actually just want a mech carrier. They're still teamfight centric, and without Darkseer in the off lane, with Gyro and Clockwork being the other cores, they have to have
5
one.
seconds
I feel like at this
remaining.
level and at this stage in the tournament, no team really deny a hero unless they
Reserve
think
time.
it's also a very good pick for them. I think the only option where you deny a hero is like we're hesitating between SF and something good that's very nice for us as well. And they might want SF, so let's just get SF instead of, you know, the other hero you were looking at.
So right now, you guys are more or less feeling that the Earthshaker is going to be the offlane.
Most likely. I think Shaker Rubik is a bit too defensive.
Yeah.
It lacks a lot of damage. I think those two supports are very, very defensive.
Well, they're taking their time here, taking into some bonus time. So we're assuming right now that we are looking for a core and a support still. What do we think that Lina is going to be now that Storm is picked?
So I think that more or less says that... Actually, no, because they still play Lina
Yeah.
safe lane.
Yeah, they do.
It's funny because they're really doing the exact same. I mean, it's been known also for VP to just put Lil on either Visit or Rubik, regardless of what the opponent play, because it's two of his best heroes by far, and he's exceptionally good at playing those heroes. So it's the exact same draft they had yesterday twice, and yesterday they ended up last picking Dro.
Dro still fits.
Throw in Silencer last yesterday.
Yep, and Secret banned PL versus them as well as the last pick, so it could be a hero they would want for Illidan
10 seconds
right now.
remaining.
I'd be much more scared of...
Kia.
no, not Pio.
Dro?
5
Dro,
seconds remaining.
But they have Clockwork though. Clockwork is like a good way of dealing with the draw.
It works both ways, though.
You take away the damage right away when you hook in.
Yeah, but at the same time, Drow is really good versus Clockwork in lane, I feel like.
Well, Lion's just counter pick to the Storm pretty much. They just want more reliable disable, which is completely understandable, and you can get away with the Lion pick because you're laning with the Gyro, so it's already a strong safe lane, and it's most likely going to be a Shaker off lane. That's the problem with the Shaker off lane, is that he
5
doesn't
seconds
pressure your
remaining.
Yeah.
opponent's safe lane at all.
When we talk about picking Lion, we always worry because when there's a Tusk, when there's Undying, when there's Spirit Breaker, but when there's an Earthshaker off lane, I mean, you don't have to worry about it.
How greedy do you think LGD can be in their last pick? In terms of maybe go for a Sand King that stays in the jungle a little while?
Depends on if it's like Drow, they have to focus more early.
I actually feel that they might actually just leave the jungle for the Shadowfiend. Because Shadowfiend might have a hard early game.
Yeah, exactly. They need to. I think they need to protect the SF. I would agree with that, because whenever you face like the thing with Shaker often is that he's bad at pressuring your safe lane. So usually what he does is just he roams around mid. So the SF is gonna be under pressure because one Fisher and he's gonna die. Lina's already a tough hero to face one-on-one, but with the help of the Shaker, the Fisher, it's extremely scary for SF. So they banned the PL, as we mentioned. So we're looking at Draw Ranger. We saw Silencer, I mean, he's banned, so it's not an option either. Which heroes could they grab for Illidan? There is the Slark that he hasn't played so far. I don't know if it's so good here. I'm just, you know, thinking of Illidan heroes.
Yeah, or Lina is going to be the Illidan hero if they still want to go that route.
That could also be an option.
I think they need more damage, though, like physical damage, because if they have Lina safe lane, Storm mid,
Luna's still in the pool as well.
Yeah, they need something that is more damage-wise in their right clicks. Like, very heavy right click damage.
I think I like Draw the most.
Slark or Draw.
Can I agree with Merlini? I think Draw might be the best option for them right now. Also because SF feels so weak versus high physical damage lineup like this. When it's your SF with just a BKB, you just melt.
Yeah, I would have much preferred the Drow ban. They might have banned PL just because they struggled a lot with it versus CDEC, but I think versus VP, the Drow is a much better ban.
Secret went for almost the same bans versus them. There you go. So there's a Draw Ranger, and LGD must have expected it.
Exact same lineup, yeah.
Yep, pretty much. They changed the visage for Rubik, but it's Lil Hero, so nothing very surprising in that.
Just the third time we've seen Drow at TI5, formerly Ferrari 430 and Illidan, the only pickers of Drow Ranger so far.
They need a very strong support right now, like damage support. Because Lion's Finger is very long cooldown, you generally want something else with the Clockwork, because Clockwork hookshot is far a shorter cooldown than the Lion Finger. So you want someone else to actually be able to help him get kills.
Sky, maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking of Sky as well. Like, it's good versus the Storm, good burst with the Clock.
Yeah, only problem is it lacks anti-push and tower defense.
It's great against Storm though.
Yeah, but they need, like Ben said, deep push as well. So Skyrock doesn't provide deep push for your team. Kind of difficult one here.
I like Omni Knight, but that's one you need.
Ooh.
Tusk. So it's gonna be a Tusk support most likely.
Yes. It's face rush against the draw. Really good.
Looks like it.
Draft done. Game one about to begin as the players get ready for this opening match in the lower bracket. So time to go over to a pair who are more popular than the Lina Shaker first pick. Ladies and gentlemen, Synderen and Toby1.
Thank you very much, Red. Yes, I get to be here with the wonderful Synderen as we do LGD versus Virtus.pro. Didn't really feel like we're going to have this matchup. Virtus.pro, yes, they're doing what most people would not believe they would do. They eliminated the favorite team Secret in LGD. We also got to see their path down here into the lower bracket, and it wasn't a smooth ride at all.
No, LGD actually got completely beat down by CDEC, at least in the second game. The first game was a little bit closer, but overall just got out-executed. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. It's a very clear favorite for me in general, just going into the series. In this draft, I really like Virtus.pro's last pick Drow. I think it's going to work very well with their overall game plan, and of course they're very comfortable with their picks. They've got all the heroes they really could want. I think DK Phobos yesterday was an absolute key part in how they defeated Team Secret. His Shaker was incredible in that series. I think he wasn't given enough credit. Everyone was talking about G and his Storm, and of course, it was a Storm Spirit show, but it was also a draft that it was easier to play Storm Spirit in. There were very few disables on the enemy team, but Phobos' Shaker was definitely something to keep an eye out for in this game.
I will agree that it's wonderful to see the Drow Ranger as a personal favorite hero of mine. But I am very, very concerned that Illidan's not going to find a lot of space on this map. You're up against heroes like Clockwork, who can easily hookshot you in, and Drow Ranger does not function if you've got heroes directly on top of a Gust. Will get you a little bit of the way, and that's actually kind of nice up against the Clockwork. But then, with the last pick, Tusker from LGD, as Winner said, it's a face rush. You get right on top of the Drow, and there's very little she can do about this. Even Lion's going to have a Blink Dagger. If Drow can't initially walk away, then you have to deal with Cold Down as well, or potentially be too close to the Requiem. She's really going to rely on the rest of Virtus.pro to do the work, and I'm almost wondering if this is the game which we see a build which we haven't seen from the two previous plays of Drow Ranger here at TI5, which is more of the stats build. So Rubik, Lina, as well as Storm are able to achieve so much more in the lane by just going the early Wraithband build instead.
It's definitely a possible route to take here. I don't want to say, though, when it comes to the team fights, it's it's very clear what LGD are trying to do with their draft. As you pointed out, they want to get up in Drow's face, but it's not just that Gust is good against the Clockwork, but they have really good defensive picks with it too. They have the Fissure, they have the Rubik who can throw away whoever comes in close, whether it's Tusk, Clock, or both. And they have really good Force Staff carriers too, which I think we're going to see out of VP here. It's possible that it'll be the first main item for Lil. I do think Phobos will want a Blink Dagger first. He generally does go that way. But we'll see in time. As far as LGD goes, they have got one of the most favored carry heroes of this metagame right now, the Gyrocopter. We should not forget about this hero as far as win rate goes in this tournament. I think it's been really, really good, mainly at the main event. I think overall at TI5 it's like 55 or 56%, so it's not overwhelming. But at the main event, it's got a really good win rate, like above 65% or something, I think. So really, really solid pick for them. And
the Gyro is just bringing everything to the field. Because he's one of these heroes too, which is able to function even with lower farm, just find a couple of levels here and there. But the Rocket Barrage early on, with the changes that happened a couple of months to that, the Gyro just skyrocketed in popularity, where you're just able to move so quickly underneath buildings. And even though Flat Cannon did get nerfed before that change came in, we're still seeing a huge amount of damage coming out from the Gyro. The fact that you're able to have a slow in the middle of a team fight, which splits everything up, being the cooldown, and will go through that immunity, it's a fantastic hero. And LGD, they've got the great combinations too. It's an element of burst damage coming in from both areas. Like, yes, Finger of Death is a long cooldown timer, but you're still going to have razors, even shards from range with Lion's Fingers, rockets. You got a lot to work with here from LGD. Maybe not as much as Virtus.pro have to work with, considering Rubik can take anything they have to work with and make it his own. But there's still a lot of options for both teams, and I'm actually looking massively forward to this match. The laning phase is going to be fun for Virtus.pro because they'll have the bonus damage plus already the advantage with having the Earthshaker movement when he does decide to move Phobos. But then LGD, like, they've also got that level 6 moment you can look for on the Clockwork. You've got that early Tuskar presence as well, which can just shift the balance.
Look at those stats. That is that does not bode well for LGD.
No, it does not.
That's pretty crazy, actually.
This is the time when I almost want to quote something I was saying to Theben watching Secret play, not yesterday, but the day before. And it kind of felt like SF was dropping off. He gets really, really big, but you never really feel like he's got the solid presence during the team fight the entire way through until he's fully six-slotted. And by that point, it's only for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then he drops off again.
I wonder if the poor win rate is just because teams are hesitant at the main event to make the big plays when Shadow Fiend is strong, because of course he does have a timing window and you want to try to end the game while your Shadow Fiend is strong. I feel like the hero hasn't been shut down that hard. He's been getting the farm he wants in most cases, but teams haven't, as it looks, really been able to win many of the games on mid lane. FFG
yeah, but
well.
Maybe didn't level up Razor at the start. He went for Necro Mastery, so we can't really punish Lena's positioning there. But this is something good from LGD. They've learned the Virtus.pro. They like to get that secondary support coming in and just harassing the mid lane. Give God that space. But it will be just denied by Yao, who instantly moves back to start stacking up the jungle. I know the panelists were also talking about the fact you're picking up SF over on the Dire side. He's going to need his supports to really stack up that jungle because he can't do it himself, which you can do on the Radiant side.
I'm definitely going to take care of that with Yao. It's going to be probably tripling, if not even quad stacking the big one at least, and maybe we'll be claiming that at level, most likely level 5. Nice ice shards there, but there is an escape path for G on the left-hand side, else it would be on the right-hand side. You can't cover the entire mid lane with ice shards. How sick would that be if you think?
That would be pretty powerful.
It's like a Fissure that is not even that positional dependent. That would be pretty ridiculous. So.
I want to keep eyes on this bottom lane too, not just because Drow Ranger's down here, but it's also because Drow Ranger up against the Clockwork is one of these beautiful combinations. Once you get your second point up in the ice arrows as well as boots, you can basically outrun the Clockwork, especially when Zhao Wei hasn't gone for boots first. He's upsetting Lil inside the jungle, but with these cold arrows, you can basically keep Clockwork at bay, even to a point where you can find yourself a kill if you got the early damage. So this movement up right now, that's a level 2 cold arrow I'm talking about. And with the one creep behind, Illidan will keep the vision on him. It'll just make him burn through a little bit of consumables now. In fact, Illidan's just going to give it up.
Well, you actually brought up a really good point. It's Xiao 8 in the offlane.
Yeah?
It's not Yao. I think it's been Yao in almost every other game I remember of LGD at this tournament, but maybe he's not feeling comfortable on Clockwork, or he's just a better Tusk player, and they're like, whatever role we need Tusk in, Yao has to play it over Xiao 8. But
it could also be the change-up. I know LGD, they released a video shortly after their loss against CDEC, and they look completely disheartened, but there was one big part of the video where they said they went into their hotel room and just locked the door, and for hours on end they just decoded the game. They said, what went wrong? We got completely crushed. This cannot happen again. Find a way around it, and this flexibility may be a result of that.
It's generally, I do think across tournaments when we see after one loss that a team switches around the roles, it could just be a one-game thing, right? As we talked about, it could just be the heroes they have. But if this is a general change-up, it could be a sign of weakness that you're trying to find a solution for a problem that, you know, might be there but might not be the bigger issue. You just feel like our offlane in both games didn't go that well, but maybe it's the overarching strategy, maybe it's the shot calling, maybe it's the drafting. It could be so many things. Well, we'll see how it works out for them with this change, and I'm really curious to see what they do in Game 2 if Xiao 8 is offlane again, because then it could just be a flat
top lane. This could be the first blood right now. MMY is moving in quick. He can go start with a stun, follow up into the Hex with a Rocket Mirage. Phobos not tanky enough to survive this, not win the shards, or maybe he will. Back behind the tower, TB support's coming in on 11 life. He has too low. FNG with a stun. Virtus.pro underneath the tier 1 tower. LGD call for a moment. And they need one. They were committing so well. But the Earthshaker just strong enough to get back under the tower. One more attack. Just one more attack would have done it.
That was just not the execution LGD was looking for. They 3-on-1. They end up dying. The rocket misses. The ice shards, I think, didn't get the perfect angle that Yao was looking for. And, you know, if you can dodge a gank like that with an offlane Earthshaker and get a turnaround kill, that is such a good start. It really slows down LGD. And FNG being able to grab that kill, give him a nice amount of gold. He should get boots from that. This is a pretty costly mistake. But of course, it's just one kill, and they could easily be able to turn it around. But the problem is, with this gank failing, Tusk is level 1, and he has 38 experience at minute 4. So everything he's been doing has been... He hasn't actually even stacked that much. Yao has been trying to put a little bit of pressure here and there, but hasn't really been that successful. And it's only a double stack that's available for Shadowfiend right now. At this point, you would like it to be a quad.
It was actually the sacrifice he took, because they went to do the smoke, but he picked up an illusion rune early on and then tried to use the illusion rune to stack. That was the one that did succeed. But the other times he was rotating and having his presence in the mid, and they actually spent 30 seconds walking around the top of the river with that smoke, wondering where he's going to go. Hence, no 3-minute stack.
But it's a big problem, because this is how... So if you look at how supports go and stack the jungle, they will often just split the experience with the mid laner, but let the mid laner get the gold. But since he hasn't succeeded on stacking more than once, the gank failed, he's going to be really under-leveled. And it's possible we see a Tusk who isn't even level 6 at minute 10 or 11 if the next gank is also not successful. He could just have a very hard game. It's, in my opinion, already not the best Tusk game, and I do think LGD overall last picked it. I feel like the hero is decently countered. You snowball in, you have Fissure, of course. You also have the Lina stun to make a turnaround play immediately, so... Well...
It's not the greatest
hard game.
It's a hard game to start with. We also have to keep in mind that while this is going on, like, this has repercussions down the road. We still have Drow Ranger. Like, they try to pressure top lane, they try to pressure the Earthshaker. They don't slow down his Blink Dagger. In fact, all 4 staff, whatever he's going to go with. But you keep the Drow Ranger being uncontested. Like, Xiao 8's down there, and he's managed to find 3 levels by being on this bottom lane, but it's against the 5 levels of the Drow Ranger. She's starting to really get more momentum, and once she's got that level 6, I don't believe Xiao 8 could even sit on the lane, not without a little bit of help. Because when you get that huge burst of agility, that's when, what I was talking about before, when you don't have the damage on the Drow Ranger, you do actually get it. And of course you get everything else that comes with the agility too. So I'm a little concerned for LGD that the next rotation has to be down the bot lane, and then it's up to Virtus.pro to see how awake they are. This is the first game of the day, nice and early in the morning, and of course everyone else has woken up for it as well. But it's if Virtus.pro are ready and see the movement of LGD coming.
Well, the question is, who's going to gank him? The Shadow Fiend can't leave mid.
True.
The top lane, the chance that Gyro rotates at minute 4 or minute 5 is very low, and it's going to be super obvious, most likely.
I suppose Tusk out without a snowball.
Tusk is level 1, has no snowball. They have a line level 3, so it's technically a possible gank, but it's going to be a very slow kill, and that should make it very easy for VP to just go for one defensive TP and just disrupt the gank. So I don't even think they need to be that much on their toes for this particular kill.
So what should we be looking at instead for LGD? Is this when you just say, just keep up with the farm, we flash farm the SF, we keep the gyro working, okay, the gank didn't work, but you also know that burst of power is going to be coming in from Virtus.pro at roughly the 10 to 15 minute mark, and you've got to be ready to defend it. The panel was saying as well, like, where is this counter push going to be? How do you stop Virtus.pro from taking out your towers? The Clockwork doesn't offer this. A Tuskar without aggression doesn't offer this. The Lion definitely doesn't offer this. Unless you're going to bring in both the SF and the Gyro, you're going to lose that tier 1 tower before the 15-minute mark.
I think they have to just stack the jungle. Right now, their ganking potential is really underwhelming. Tusk has to find level 2. Like, that's got to be the first step, because without Snowball, their chance of ganking the mid lane is pretty... It is possible, but not without a smoke whatsoever. It's never going to happen.
Yep.
Well, technically, you can start with shards and get Lion in position, but it's pretty difficult for them to set that up. So, stack the jungle, let SF raise it, get the levels on the Tusk, let Lion soak experience somewhere else. He's already level 3, as mentioned, Tusk being the one who's really starving for it. And I would say that's the first step, and then you try to look for ganks afterwards.
Well, we're going to see while LGD sort out their issues in the box. We'll see if the panelists agree with our thoughts. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Toby. Yes. What do you make? I mean, 3.5 minutes in, it's a difficult thing to talk about right now. We've got the picks up behind us, of course. So, if there's anything in particular of the early part, what have you seen so far, Seb? Anything that would stand out?
I like the fact that FNG just went offlane with the Shaker. I think we said that Shaker offlane alone is really weak. And now we have dual lane, and like the good thing about Draw Ranger is that he's strong laner if he doesn't have to fight. At zoning heroes, Draw plus Rubik, they don't need Lina. Like the Clockwork is gonna be shut down anyway. So it's good that they pressure a bit that Gyro, and he's gonna give more space to the Shaker. I like that decision.
We had a big argument about whether they should have banned Drow or PL in the 5th pick. That was like a 5-minute discussion.
Well, carry on. Do it again. Do it again for the benefit of the viewers.
So I said they should have banned Drow just because I think their lineup's much weaker versus Drow. Like Clockwork struggles against it. They don't have that much anti-push, and it just makes all their lanes a lot stronger. And they won with it yesterday. And then he said they should ban PL.
Why?
Yeah, because I'm not saying they should ban PL. I'm just trying to reason why they wanted to ban PL. I do think that it's much more difficult to actually deal with the Drow compared to the PL, but I feel like the reason they actually didn't want to go against the PL is because PL is much stronger late game, PL plus Storm, and because VP hasn't been so consistent in their early game, so they felt like if we could just hang on and go to the late game against them, we don't want them having something that's really strong in the late game. And Drow, if you don't get a good start, it's much more riskier, and you go late game without a good start with a Drow, she's usually very useless in the late game if she doesn't have a good start.
I sense some division in Team M over there. So Team S, have you got division over here, or are you in agreement?
I think they should not ban Draw and not ban PL. I think they should give them Draw and pick PL.
Completely Shiva.
Well, I just am very happy to see Illidan play Drow, because I think that would be the better hero for them compared to PL.
Yeah, but they can't pick the PL, dude. They have Gyro and SS.
Yeah, but then I think the way they approach the draft versus VP is not the way to approach it. I mean, VP, they look like they want to get Draw as much as they can. And then, considering that, and FNG also, he respects the PL versus Draw matchup, like he's shown it in drafts earlier this year, where Draw is probably the worst carry, I'd say, versus PL. I can't think of a carry that's as bad as Draw versus PL, because the silence is not a factor. PL gets Diffusal Blade, the counter silence, the Mantis side is the same, and Draw just can't deal with illusion heroes. And like, there's no item that Draw can get that's actually decent versus PL.
Yeah, I mean, that's true as well, but I feel like what Ben mentioned, the Clockwork, he said Clockwork is bad in the lane versus Drow, but during team fights, you can still like nullify the Drow ultimate because you can just hook and get close to the Drow.
Distance, yeah.
At the start of the game, you said the most interesting matchup for you would be mid.
Yep.
We got Shadow Fiend versus Storm Spirit. What do you think so far?
I think it's that even.
Yeah, in terms of last hit, what's going to make the difference? What's gonna happen? You think?
Now it's the phase where nothing's gonna happen because like if something. No,
Okay, good. We'll just not watch anything for the next 20 minutes.
what I mean is that if anything were to happen, it would have been before. Like this is when Storm can just farm jungle and SF as well. So I mean, they might end up getting ganked, but they have what they need. They have bottle, they have boost, they have decent levels. The matchup is even.
Okay. What do you think over there, Team M? I see you studying Team S over here.
What's going to make the change? Like, who's going to rotate first to help out his teammate? Because if what Seb says is right, which we're going to assume it is, someone else has to.
I mean, you could assume it wasn't.
Good team play.
You know, I'm used to Paul, so I mean.
Fair enough.
We didn't talk about that tree eating by Illidan.
You see.
So Illidan ate those trees on the side, which makes Xiao Ei's life a lot more difficult. So the harder Clockwork's life is, the easier it is for them to take the T1 tower and force LGD to respond. And again, why I think the Drow is much worse for LGD is because the early game for Drow is much more difficult to deal with in the late game from PL, because they have SF and Gyro, which aren't the best versus PL, but they're pretty darn good. They have a lot of AoE. They scale pretty well, and you mentioned that PL plus Storm is really, really scary late game, and I agree with that. But at the same time, LGD defending their towers, especially with Tusk not having that great of a start, the trees being eaten for the Clockwork, like everything's shaping up for a bad early game for LGD.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk about the role swap as well on LGD.
Yeah.
The director is actually going to the offlane, and Yao is actually doing the Tusk support. I mean, it might be the case that he's the only Tusk player in the team.
Yeah, and he is, I believe, 5-on-1 on the Tusk this tournament, so pretty good Tusk record. And we know that Xiao Ei has played offlane before, so he'll play a good clock.
But it's just sad the trees are gone. You know, Illidan took away the trees.
That was such a good play.
They didn't have to pick Tusk though. Like Xiao Ei could have played like, I don't know, Spirit Breaker or something like that. There are other options for heroes that get into Drow's face.
I mean, the Sigil is definitely a great spell versus the Roche strat. I mean, that's for sure, especially with the Roche factor. You just, you know, scout Roshan. They have a lot of. I think when you play versus, like we even spoke about it earlier, we were like, but why was Drow such a key hero versus Secret? It was mainly because of the Roche, because Drow itself was not a factor. He was just dying every fight. He didn't go for agility items. You know, sometimes you see Drow, like Envy, he will go 3 triple Wraith Bands, then he will just go Sange and Yasha. So he's just passively being a factor. But yesterday it was not the case. It was just the fact that they got rushed so early, and that they go Storm Drow, because if there's one hero that you want to give Aegis early on in the game, it's terrifying. You have a Storm with Aegis. I mean, either you let him kill you, or you kill him and then he's gonna kill you. I mean, you just lose the fight and you just give him Bloodstone charges. And so Roshan is gonna be a crucial factor. So I feel like having the Clockwork and the Tusk, the Sigil, it makes the Roshan potential better.
Yeah, and I think what Ben mentioned, the Spirit Breaker, I feel Spirit Breaker is going to have a hard time with the Earthshaker, the Rubik, and the Lina, even the silence from the Drow. So he might actually have a much harder time than compared to the Tusk in this game.
And I'd love to see a Dagger BKB SF once. I think versus Joe strats, you need to, you know, close the distance.
So earlier was said that they needed a mech carrier, and that's why they picked the SF. You don't agree with that anymore?
I think it's fine, but he has to advise to a Dagger at some point.
Okay, we can head back to the commentary team, so let's go back down to Syndren and Toby1.
Thank you very much. Yes, we are back here. Virtus.pro versus LGD continues 4 minutes in after our first blood spilt by Virtus.pro, turning it around on LGD. Hopefully all issues are sorted and we'll have a flawless game throughout the end. Welcome back, Sind. Welcome back.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to you too, although neither of us actually left.
No, we did not. We were still here. And those first 3 arrow hits from Illidan, when he's level 6, that's kill potential right there. And also noticing his build, we haven't seen anything up just yet. He's a 2-1-2 on the Drow Ranger. Going different from his build he did the other day, where he just left the 1 point up in the aura, actually bypassed the gust, and went for the 4 points up in arrows. So it leans a little bit heavily toward, more heavily towards the aura, but haven't seen the build up of items just yet. He's only bought boots, that's all.
I think in this case where he doesn't really need the Frost Arrows, he doesn't need more than 2 points to run down the Clockwork, it's way more beneficial for his team that he maxes the Aura. It helps Storm a lot in ganks. And The Lina as well as Rubik, of course, benefit as well, but it's more about the
Yao,
the
do you not want to
6.
be here?
Yeah.
God, he's right next to him. He doesn't know if he pots one red, but now he will know. Yao in close with a fidget to help him out. God, putting the extra damage to work. One last attack, and it will be a kill. Going the way of the VP mid, while maybe a long way up. The Light Strike Array going to connect on the SF. God, not enough mana. He's got enough for one more jump in. It's going to be close up with the dust. He can't hide, but then again, he can bottle up the extra fissure as well. Maybe surviving into the tower, and now TP's into the mid, and now LGD, they brought practically their entire team bar Sylar into that mid lane to defend it. That's actually going to be like half of the life of the tier 1 tower lost in this time.
Tower is under attack.
Yeah, and if Clockwork's level 4, he can't do anything in this bottom lane, actually. Xiaowei has to just try to soak whatever experience he can, but he's not finding as much as he would like. And he knows that if he comes in remotely close here, Illidan's going to start doing this, and if he gets lifted by Rubik, he's dead. You already saw there, by the way, how much the Drow Ranger aura came into play. I think G got the kill with one less attack, and it may not sound like the biggest of deals, but it is. It changes everything that you have that you get the kill 1 second faster. As okay, this might be a little greedy here.
Yeah, God with a jump, he wanted to get the rune, he's going to die for the cause. Maybe comes through with the double raises and the extra support control from LGD.
And notice the moment Yao gets level 2, they can suddenly do something right here. That kill would have been very difficult to pull off with Ice Shards. He brings in Lion close with Snowball, and they easily get a very, very key kill. And it goes to Shadow Fiend, which I think is good here as well. They need to make sure maybe has a good game.
How's he still looking on these stacks? Because Yao's moving back up for him now.
He's going to make a quad here.
Okay.
He times it right. This is a little bit tricky with the composition of this creep camp. I think he might have... Yeah, he's good. He's got it for sure.
Virtus.pro is grouping up. They're ready for another smoke. This time they're going to combine up with Phobos, and they move themselves away from the Dire Observer Ward. In fact, they're actually going to combine with God as well. He's still got the double damage for him. That is the one upside of what did happen. He did pick up the rune, even though he didn't get the man to get out, and now Yao so close, the smoke's going to break. They put the Observer Ward down, but Yao walking to the side, and LGD, they managed to dodge a bullet for the moment, but only for the moment. Are they going to commit? Like, are they going to come up for Sylar?
It's very good for LGD though. Yeah, obviously they didn't die, but it's a lot of time commitment from VP, and you want, at this point, you want your Storm to be farming up as effectively as possible. He joins the gank because they think they'll need him, and that he's going to obviously help out with his DD. It's a DD rune wasted.
He's dead. Completely dead. There's no way out of this one. Not when there's 4 heroes coming down, and again the Shadow Fiend will be taking this last hit. And Drow Ranger was just not ready. There was an Observer and Sentry in the lane trying to see deep, but LGD coming under the cover of smoke.
They're going to get a tower too. I don't think there's anything.
On top lane, Sylar going after Phobos, the cooldown, not enough to kill him off. FNG stuns and Feybolt's going to remove the damage of Sylar. They can't get a revenge until Storm Spirit. God! A long jump into the tower. Sylar's going to stick charge, but God's got more mana, but no! 12 life! He has to go again! But God will find the kill. That time he had to do it without the Drow aura, but still able to be successful. That's his second kill of the game.
This is still very good for LGD. They've managed to fully pull back this game. They're actually leading quite a bit now by claiming that tower, and by having maybe 2 kills, clearing out that big quad stack. He should be very far ahead on net worth, and he is. It's 800 ahead of G. It's a big gap down to the next heroes on the list. The safe laners for both sides are trailing the mid lanes quite a bit. And now, this is where it gets really interesting, because Xiaowei is closing in on level 6. The Tusk is starting to become valuable as well. This becomes a game of protect Illidan, I think. If you're LGD, you want to try to chase him down as much as possible, constantly gank out the Drow. That means they might have to rotate Phobos' Shaker defensively a couple of times, and that will delay his blink a lot. Because I don't think the Rubik can protect the Drow alone. I think she's still going to die from just this massive burst damage that LGD can roll in.
I'm wondering if he can protect it at all, because like the Fissure Stun's going to be the only thing. You telekinesis grab 1 of LGD when they snowball in, but the stun's still going to be there, and you'll still have multiple LGD heroes on top of the Drow. And if you do use that telekinesis, or even if you don't, like it could just be Xiaowei hooking in and soaking up a lot of damage, allowing maybe to come in and do the rest of the work. This is a rough position for Virtus.pro, and LGD, They've worked wonders to get themselves back into a commanding position in this game, and they're going to try and force the issue even more with a 3-man smoke, but they did it underneath the Radiant Observer Ward, so Virtus.pro are well aware of what's going on.
FNG is like spamming Illidan. Illidan, what are you doing? We saw the smoke get out.
The money is not worth it. The money is just not worth it.
He really wanted that big Drake so he could get his treads, but playing it safe here is the right call.
So they're going to 5-man smoke up. I think Virtus.pro have had enough of LGD just taking tier 1 towers for free. They got the bottom one, but they'll refuse to give them the top. Phobos moving in. He's got a fidget block potential on Sylar right now, and he'll need it. The double stun, FNG to follow up, and Yao dead very quickly. God, expending a large chunk of mana to get in that close.
Maybe has TP'd up here though. He has haste. If they want to fight this, they should do it right now, before the spells come off cooldown again for the Radiant.
It's so difficult though. There's also another Radiant Observer Ward sitting behind us, watching MMY, Sylar, and Maybe's movements. And they see the haste rune with only a quarter left. Yeah, VP just back up. They got to get back to their own farming.
There's going to be a mech for the next fight. Maybe he's going to claim it right now. He's missing 15 gold, and we might see them get the tower after all. VP have rotated mid, so they can't defend it anymore. They did not have mana on Shaker, and I think they just decided, you know what, without Fissure, we're not holding this.
They could slow it down a little bit, but that's only if Lil feels he can even get in range for a Fade Bolt. But there goes your tier 1 tower, so LGD will take it, and early mech. 11.5 minutes coming in from Maybe. That's where all the money goes. And is this just a ticket to push for LGD? Like, your 5-man movement from LGD is just so strong. And Storm's not in a position where he can disable yet.
Yeah, you just go mid. If VP try to fight into them, they have defensive cogs, they have mech, they have snowball, call down. It's something we haven't talked about too much because we've been focusing a lot on the aggressive aspect of things, but initiating into LGD is actually very difficult. There are a lot of things that need to happen for you to be successful in that fight. They will lose this tower. Oh, that's a really... Oh, wow.
That was a small gap to walk around the tree line. Gonna gust back Yao, but Illidan fingered down and destroyed by the call down. The gyro plus the tier 1 tower. It was meant to be the 10 to 15 minute mark when Virtus.pro were meant to come online, but right now, LGD, with his 5-man wall move, Virtus.pro just have no answer to the Chinese.
They've got a really big problem now, which is they can't really enter their jungle anymore. They lost the access point towers. LGD have good aggressive warding, and LGD flat out just have the better skirmishing heroes right now. Lina's only level 5, not 6 yet. Same for Rubik. We're 12.5 minutes in. This is pretty unusual for Virtus.pro, at least in this tournament. I feel like their supports and their offlanes have been getting a lot of levels. DK Phobos is also only level 5, so...
DK Phobos is dead. Hook shot in from Xiaowei, locking him in. Lily to force it back, but he gets burnt by the cogs. Coming in a little bit too close, but now they go on Maybe, gusting him back out again. Trying to buy a little bit of space. This Earthshaker is going to take a very long time. He's actually just trying to get a Soul Ring at the moment. Not even worrying about Blink Dagger or Force Staff. Fisher spam to delay LGD.
And this is what you can do when the enemy team can't really initiate into you very well. Just go into a minute 13 Roshan. They have a very tanky Shadow Fiend. They do a good job spreading out the damage. They have Frozen Sigil. And
they're backing out.
Didn't like doing that, so they just go do something else. So.
It was too much success for LGD.
Game is too easy.
Yep.
Feels like we're cheating. Let's go back to mid.
Challenge yourself. Give Dro level 11.
They might have just wanted to push out mid first and make sure they bring in Xiao 8, because in case this fight does bring out, it's very crucial for them that Clockwork is there. So no chances taken here. They push out mid. They'll maybe lose their top tier 1 tower here if G decides to really push it hard together with the Rubik and Shaker.
I think you might be right about the whole waiting for Xiao Wei, because the timing of when they're going to be killing off Roshan is at the same time as the hook shot was coming off cooldown. So Virtus.pro, if they have any intention of fighting LGD, they will lose this engagement. And Virtus.pro know this, that's why they're not getting involved. They leave Illidan to just push pressure on mid lane. On top, you got a double damage from God, pushing into the tier 1 tower with no fortification from LGD. They can't protect the tier 1 tower, but they don't care. They've got the Aegis of the Immortal in the hands of Maybe, and they're coming down for the tier 2 tower. At this point, I know we're only 15 minutes in, Sim, but could LGD entertain the possibility of pressuring the tier 3? I'm only saying pressuring because I only feel like it could be a bait for Virtus.pro to come out and defend against it, and then LGD fight. Then potentially they can go up.
If they see 2 heroes on the map after they destroy this tower, they'll go 2-3, just to force the TPs back. Because the risk of them getting killed twice on the Shadow Fiend with no good counterplay is almost non-existent. See, this is what's really, really good about this draft. It's a good mech carrier. He's a really good Aegis carrier too. And you just, at this point in time, Virtus.pro hasn't got to build up their Drow enough. These Drow lineups come online a little bit later when Drow has some more farm. So the right-click damage isn't enough yet to overpower maybe who has 16 armor. So LGD, I think they can just go from one tower to the next to the next. I'm not really seeing VP with a good chance of holding. They just put Shadow Fiend in front. He stands and hits the tower with the creep wave. If VP want to kill him, they more or less have to jump in G, and then he's at a big risk of getting hexed from a distance. If they don't, well, they just lose another tower. They've got to do something about this right now. Any sort of response, at the very least, just trying to pressure LGD and not giving them for free.
They're letting all the towers go. Virtus.pro are playing the wait game. They will not battle LGD outside their base. They know they can't win. Maybe they can let the Aegis, the Immortal, tick down. And in the meantime, you just keep pushing out the lanes. Illidan's going to add a little bit of pressure towards this tier 2 tower. He also finished up a helm with the Dominator and hit level 11. So you do have that bonus 60 agility coming into the Drow Ranger, which shares 45 damage with every range hero on Virtus.pro. They are all about defending from inside their base and getting LGD to fight in unfavorable circumstances, and even a denial from FNG on that tier 2 tower. Wait, are they snowballing him? They got an Illidan on top lane. Yao gets the Walrus punch off the Gus. Gonna push back Silent with a TP out for Xiaowei. Hook shots in. The Drow is dead for 44 seconds. But God's pressuring our bottom lane. FNG's kept the creep wave in mid of bay. So LGD can't really capitalize on this death time. But it's still a death for a Drow.
This has the potential to be a really short game, but
it does.
The thing LGD needs to be careful with is going high ground against VP. If they make one mistake and they lose, let's just say 2 or 3 heroes, not necessarily the 5-man wipe, but just give VP a little bit of breathing room. When they're ahead this much in gold, the kills that VP will get on the defense will be really valuable.
God needs to get out of there. There's no disable on maybe, so it would have only been damage that would kill him. But with this, the Observer Ward should have scattered out the fact that Bloodstone is completed. There's an Obs Ward from LGD, which is watching the movement of the courier to and from the secret shop.
You know who else is rich?
Who is rich, apart from SF?
Yeah, SF.
It's just SF?
Oh, he just got a full BKB.
I was waiting for a huge surprise, Cinderin.
Yeah, Lion has a vacant fight. The Shadow Fiend has a BKB already with mech at minute 17. Treads Aquila. Bottle as well. He's very, very rich. This is one of the richest Shadow Fiends I think we've seen.
Illidan dead. Hook shot down again from Xiaowei. Illidan can't find the angle for the guy. Xiaowei's positioning was perfect at that point. He knew he was making the Drow Ranger have to turn. Hence she couldn't get the Gus line right.
And even if she does, Xiaowei has a Force Staff. He's actually itemized differently. What we usually see from Clockwork's first in this tournament is the Blade Mail. I like the Force Staff first build a lot. It allows you to set up and get out and re-engage at any point you like, and it's a counter to the enemy Force Staffs. If they push someone out of Cox, you can actually run them down. And here we go, 18-minute high ground. There's no buyback on Illidan.
No, there's not.
They have just going in.
They got to defend it with stuns and whatever they got. Maybe so low. FNG, Laguna play. They're going to pop the Aegis, the Immortal. It buys time more than anything else. And FNG, no new Light Strike Array. But actually, no, he will. Maybe force-staffed away by Xiaowei. They'll back themselves up.
That's a good hold.
At the same time, you got to look up towards that top lane. The tier 2 tower is actually going down pretty quickly, and yeah, they're having to bring support in. They could fortify to save it anyway. Salo will be the man to turn the flat cannon on. Riccardi's still doing the work. And if Storm's really cheeky about this, God could just jump in. Okay, no, he can't. That tower's got 107, but with the Invis Rune, he sees Yao and MMY moving up. But surprisingly for this game, like, okay, so LGD, they do some chip damage to that tier 3 tower. But beyond that, they're still not getting close to the end, and Virtus.pro are finding farm across the map. God's hoping for a solo kill on MMY or any hero that's isolated, but instead the rest of Virtus.pro, they're going to find the better target. The smoke, will it break with Xiaowei in the tree line? The Gus, they do find the right target. Cleaning up the tree lines, they find Xiaowei. No Laguna Blade right now, and well, what was on? Rocket Flare only, but Storm Spirit jumping in. Xiaowei, the cogs come up, pushing God back, and with maybe arriving with the mech. Xiaowei being protected. And God doesn't want to give this up just yet. FNG's managed to soak up the creep wave.
So LGD, they don't manage to, like you said, they don't manage to break the base. Like the tier 3 tower still has a lot of health in mid, but Virtus.pro are not finding anything either. So the issue here is G is finding farm, Drow is not. And an underfarmed Drow is paper for this Dire lineup. The whole draft of Virtus.pro was reliant on Illidan having a good game, and his early game was obviously great. He wasn't pressured in lane. But LGD's 4 out of their 6 kills are on that Drow, so there's very little that VP can do until Illidan gets more farm. So they have to just try to slow down the game and farm up as much as possible. But with LGD getting superior map control and easily being able to take the next Roshan probably without being contested by VP, it's still looking really grim for them, even though that first attempt didn't work.
It really is, and like normally I disagree with you with the whole Drow Ranger underfarmed, like things don't really work, because you can just go down the line and say, well, as long as you get a Mask of Madness as well as like either a Shadowblade or a Chrysalis, she's going to do the damage during the team fight. But we've got the Helm with a Dominator build from Illidan. It's a lot more stable, a lot more required up against this LGD lineup. It's now God jumping in, but okay. Yeah, he has a regeneration rune, but when he arrived, he still didn't have the mana for it. Like, to go for a Vortex around thing, and now actually maybe jumping up here. That tower's on 36 life. It only needs one more attack to bring it down, and Xiao Wei's going to actually offer 2. Okay, 3. He's not that strong.
Dire's top tower has been denied.
But the tower gets denied. I still can't believe that tier 1 tower remains in middle lane. We're going to throw. Call down. FNG's in trouble. On the run out of here. He needs more life. The Rocket's going to kill him. They need someone to get rid of this for him. And Lil, the Storm God, was jumping for it desperately. Couldn't reach it in time. And while he was doing that, Sylar was TPing back to base, enjoying the spoils of war.
That was a level 1 homing missile as well. So any bottle charge, destroying the Rocket, of course, would have been great. So another kill. He had to expend a BKB charge for that, though. So I don't think that's an incredibly good kill for LGD, but it's definitely better than not going for it.
Illidan's trying to keep the rest of LGD away. The shards, it doesn't lock in Illidan, but Xiao Wei will. The snowball's coming as well. The Gus can't push him back. The Fissure will push Xiao out of the cogs, but it will not stop him from killing the Drow Ranger. Xiao Wei's battery assault working in combination with the Walrus Punch, and maybe to the front lines. Lil's going to pick him up and throw him back. Trying to keep LGD away from their base. But the Blink Dagger now online, there's better initiation, especially when you can force up into a Blink on the SF. You can't get close enough to do enough damage. As Virtus.pro actually being held at bay a little bit here by a lot of spam, because you've got a level 4 Rocket Flare on the Rubik. He's had this for a while, he's been using it to control the side lanes more than anything else, Lil. But getting up with a full creep wave, you got Feybolt, Fissure, Slave, potential Remnants, and whatever Rubik can steal, which there's a lot of good abilities for as well. So getting a creep wave and keeping a creep wave on the high ground on VP's base is very difficult for LGD. But then again, their team is so strong, they get one, it only has to go up for a second. Turn the backdoor regen off. God's pressuring bottom lane while while LGD take tier 2 tower on top, and they're already coming back to stop this, as God will zip himself away to safety.
They have to protect Illidan more. It's very, very clear that that's what... Oh, that Rocket would probably see that smoke coming out just...
It came at the last second, though. And LGD haven't done mass pings for it. They are grouping up together behind their tier 1 tower. So they're moving like they did see him. But they're also moving like Roshan should be respawning, which he just did. So LGD, they have the option of Roshan. And they're already going to take it.
If a fight breaks out in this Roshan pit, LGD is going to absolutely crush them if Drow isn't there. And if Drow is there, they might still absolutely crush them, but then they have a chance.
It would take Illidan too long to get there.
Yeah.
Like, he might have a TP scroll, but he'll have to TP himself down to that tier 3 tower on bot lane. Because with no out of towers, there's just no way to move.
I think this is the type of situation where you try to steal it with Storm.
This one little creep which got stolen. The Radiant Creep Wave followed him into the pit. This is the control right now coming in from Sylar. That's what he's doing. He's just messing with the creep wave. And now they'll move in and take out Roshan. And VP have no intention of fighting this. They're still farming Drow up on top. She's getting closer and closer to having that BKB of hers. But there's still a recipe away. And Lil's on babysitting duty.
And the issue for Illidan is that he was forced into getting the BKB in the first place. Because this means he can maybe survive the fight, but can he output a lot of damage? He doesn't have the aggressive build with, like, say, Sanjin Yasha or just a Yasha Mask of Madness or any build-up for Butterfly, that kind of stuff.
He could still go into the SMY, but it kind of feels like LGD's heroes are forcing him into the BKB.
But if he has a BKB and the Clockwork jumps him, let's say he survives, what's his impact in the fight anyway? He's probably going to get, like, he's going to get some attacks off on the Clockwork in melee range, but Clock has 11 armor and he's losing so much agility. He's losing the 60 when he comes in close. It's tricky. Do they have any Force Staff on the Radiant? They do not.
It's coming up on Phobos.
Yeah. He chooses to go at Overblink this game. Looks like Lil will get one as well.
Illidan's in real trouble. Hook shot in. He's going to lose his Alpha Wolf as well. That's the extra damage down the drain. And once again, maybe find the kill. He goes 4 for 0 on this SF.
They actually just stole his Alpha Wolf.
The Helm of the Dominator of Sylar.
It has 1600 health because he dominated another Dominator creep. It's really tanky. If they keep ping-ponging this could be a really big wolf. It does work that way, right? Yeah, there's no way to get 1600 health from one domination.
There's so many turncoats in this game.
It has more health than the Shadow King.
VP picking out God, jumping in on maybe, but this is only harassment. Make LGD think twice, but it already reveals the fact that we have a Glimmer Cape on the Tusker to go along with his Urn and Arcane Boots. That Blink Dagger of Line is also waiting for the perfect moment against the Storm. A Storm that doesn't have Linken's or BKB. So it's a guaranteed control every time from MMY over on God. And FNG, well, there's your jump. They find Lil, they bring him down. Swordspur jumping in. MMY already down for the count. Maybe it's BKB. It was a 10-second charge coming out. And now they just back out. They trigger the drums. With both BKBs now on cooldown and drove back to World of Living. They're not going to fight it. And it is actually going to be the BKB. He bought the Mithril Hammer.
Good hold by VP though. But the question is, how long can they go on? These BKBs were used from LGD, so they're going to wait until they're off cooldown again. But they didn't lose the Aegis, so the moment Lion is back, they can look to group up again and try one more time. And this tower is getting really low on health and the Glyph was forced, so there's another good 4 minutes that they can use on just setting up for that one tower.
Illidan, you don't want to be here. That Dire Observer Ward, watch him go up. Zhao Wei, hook shots in, and now real trouble for Illidan. He can't break free. The Gus will push Zhao Wei out, but then the SF locks in. God looking for revenge kill over on Yao, able to claim it with Lil finishing the job with a Fade Bolt. They move over to Maybe, just throwing him back with the telekinesis. FNG, time to get out there is time. God still got mana as well to jump back into base, but Lil needs to force stuff away from Phobos. Way too much damage coming out from that SF for a Rubik to stand there.
And I think this is when LGD just go and get, at the very least, the tower. They have their BKB ready on Shadow King and Gyro again. Decent fissure from Phobos.
Storm Spirit's so close to this Orchid of his. Having that, they might be able to find some openings right now. FNG, it's a trade-off, but actually the force up out, gets him out of the corner, and God! Maybe! Down at 25 life, remember he's still got the Aegis of the Immortal. So he would have just cracked it.
VP are doing such a good job. Another fantastic hold. I was sure they were going to at least lose their tower there, but they put so much pressure on Maybe in that situation that LGD go back a bit. And the Force Staff plays, of course, they're saving FNG. Very well done. And maybe they can outlast the Aegis now. There's 1.5 minutes left on it. Maybe has to go back to base to heal up. That means they actually only have like a minute to get there.
VP actually have openings now. They got choices. Even though they keep getting seen by this Dire Observer Ward, which is sitting on the hill near the mid lane, they keep getting scouted out their movements from this. This is why Illidan's died now twice over on those Ancients. But it's the fact you got the Orchid flying in on God. So they got a way to get this instant kill. Fissure out, MMY's going to jump God. Where's this arm's going to come? The call down. 3 heroes in Virtus.pro caught this one. The force up down by Phobos, getting himself away from Zhao Wei, but Zhao Wei keeping on the back of him. The battery assault will finish the job on Illidan. Style's going to finish this job. Zhao Wei's actually managed to pick up a double kill. Illidan actually away to safety for now. TPing out. FNG will not be so lucky, and actually Illidan won't either. The Blink Dagger on the SF gets him there in the nick of time. As God's just trying to skip this out and keep the wave away from the VP base. And he'll be successful for the moment.
Whoa, what'd I miss?
Yeah. he missed the timing out just by a little bit. So 30 seconds until Dro's up. That creep wave is still going to take some time. Another 10 seconds before we get to the Radiant base.
He's going to cut the next one, but I think it doesn't matter. It was actually really, really important he hit his wave. And with that miss, the tower's gone this time, I promise. They're not holding it this time.
Well, they lose the Aegis of the Immortal, LGD, so if they're going to do this, it comes with an element of risk. Phobos still has that Echo Slam. He's looking at a nice creep wave, even though he's going to fissure it for now. And, well, I guess your promises are true, Cinderin. That tier 3 tower will drop.
There goes the Aegis. I think you already said that.
Yep.
He lost it twice.
Snap. And these racks is getting worked on at the moment. The Sigil will drop. Shards out. Illidan and Lil getting caught, but then maybe they do have Laguna Blade. They're going to pop the SF, force-off him up, and they've got extra health. Both Meg and Nedge, Record said more control required. It's just not there. LGD too strong. The cogs keeping the rest of Virtus.pro away from LGD. But maybe Glimmercape plus the mech and BKB survivability was essential.
It's so crucial Yao gets that off. If he didn't glimmer him right when he did, maybe would have definitely died there. And that fight could have maybe been 2 or 3 kills for VP. The moment Shadow Fiend is down and doesn't get Requiem off, they have so much damage between the Drow and the Storm. But Requiem removes a lot of it.
And now they go in for that range rax take it. God jumping up forward, but Xiaowei going in deeper. He force-starts into that one. They find the Illidan, and they'll go over to God as well as FNG, retreating back behind the tier 4 towers. Only the Storm has the ability to escape at the moment, and they're TPing a long way forward, actually trying to get outside the base. Xiaowei so low, Laguna Blade, it's 5 seconds off cooldown. It's enough to kill Xiaowei, but he's got to live for 5 seconds. Maybe not even possible. Storm Spirit, a long way out. They lose the Lina. And the Storm TP ball attempt to get a kill was not enough damage to pick up the LGD.
And that is a dieback for FNG.
So costly, especially as he's trying to somehow rush up into that Aghanim Scepter on the Lina. If he was capable of achieving that one, he wouldn't really care about Glimmer or these BKBs anymore. Life is becoming more and more troublesome here for Virtus.pro. They need a miracle to turn what is now a 20k net worth deficit around on LGD. 14,000 for the experience as well. LGD are just in a commanding position, and they really needed a game like this. After what happened in the winners bracket semi-final, they needed something like this against Virtus.pro. And they need to hold on to this as well.
And that stat you just saw there shows how absolutely countered Illidan has been in this game. He has been shut down so hard by LGD. He doesn't have a killer assist at minute 32. Just extremely unusual for him, because he's an aggressive carry, and you know, he's renowned for... In recent times, he's become a lot more stable, but he's been renowned for playing like super aggressively.
Oh, Xiaowei just didn't have the length on it, but Illidan, they're trying to force off him into the base, not possible. Maybe we'll trigger the BKB and the force staffs, and the walk back was just enough for Illidan.
Oh, Fissure?
Yeah, they get one on Yao. It's going to allow Lil to steal shots. Not a bad ability. Going to turn around Xiaowei, back in again. FNG with a Sunday Laguna Blade over on Xiaowei. They're looking for the kill, but then again, the Glimmercape doing the work. God, he just wants to find the kill, able to do so. The gems on the deck. But so are 3 of the VP players. Trying to run himself away, but God, there's just no mana. The Bloodstone denied, but can they keep him stunned up long enough? And no! They just let the Requiem play out its song, and they explode the Storm Spirit. No denial from the Bloodstone. And now SF is 11 for 0. And Illidan...
He got an assist.
But, applause. He's 0 for 10 on this drone.
It's funny because the panel, and I thought too that Drow could be a really good pick in this game. I thought it actually could work out very well, but LGD has just been playing so extremely aggressively on him that he never came online.
Storm jumping out, Orchid's over at MMY, so there's no ability to hex him. But it's at least intimidation enough for LGD to back up. And Menard's with you until the Tuskar pick as well.
Well, even after the Tuskar pick, we were talking about how they had the solutions, but LGD has outmaneuvered them. They kept finding... See, that's another thing. They kept finding Illidan on his own. If backup was there, maybe they could have turned it, but I think at least 5 of his deaths have just been like 3-on-1. Well, what are you going to do as Drow? You're going to die.
Yep.
There's absolutely nothing in this hero's spell kit that allows you to escape at all. So...
It's a hard life.
This game is... If VP come back from this, that will be the most impressive comeback of the turn. Well, I don't even know if...
Next to the All-Star match comeback, it would be an impressive comeback. But LGD, they're looking to ensure even more. This is the 3rd Roshan now. In 34 minutes, both Aegis and Cheese have put the Cheese over on Sylar, while the SF is the man carrying the Aegis of the Immortal. And FNG is doing all he can. He's moved up to the top lane, and they just try and keep these lanes pushing out. But they realize now LGD are coming to end this game, to take a 1-game advantage against Virtus.pro. and keep their hopes alive here in the International. This is lower bracket, this is elimination. The loser of this series goes out, so it's all or nothing. But they leave maybe on the front lines. LGD, they know the burst is there, and then MMY, the Orchid from God, he wants to finish the job. MMY, Climacate, not though, God can't see him, he can't kill him. FNG's down, Phobos as well, and Jonathan maybe winding up the only destroyed. Sylar will actually take the ultra kill. They'll take the bottom rank, and they'll take the GG. LGD, a terrific performance. It looked a little bit weird with the snowball on the top lane, but after that, it was all Gucci for LGD.
Yeah, I even think VP had a good start to that game. That's the scariest part. Like, their first 5 minutes were actually good. They got the counter kill top, so Lina was off to a good start. Shaker survived. They found they found another kill. Drow had good farm. Storm had a good mid lane. And then LGD just